Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Good morning, good afternoon. I think we have quite international audience always. Some of you probably already know me, some of you don't. I'm Irina Mazur. I'm Chief Product and Marketing Officer at Revieve. And today's session will be all about what I would imagine is top of the mind for every beauty decision maker, how to rethink retail monetization or retail engagement in an age where discovery is no longer linear, so to speak, and really changing every day. And personalization is everything and is taking on whole other meaning. So let's dive in. So the rules of the game have changed, I would say. And I hear that every day when we talk to our customers, when I talk with the partners, when I talk with other strategy partners that we have. Consumers are no longer discovering products the same way as they used to. And that's creating both pressure and opportunity. So we are seeing an urgent need for beauty retailers and beauty brands to really shift how they think about capturing value and how they think about the journey altogether. And that means moving really beyond passive ad formats or hoping for clicks or rethinking overall what the traditional discovery path was or about what is the front door. It means designing experiences that meet consumers at the moment of their intent and then figuring out how to monetize those moments intelligently. So let me perhaps quickly walk you through what we will explore in today's session. We'll start with unpacking a bit how consumer discovery is changing, which, by the way, we touched upon this in great detail in one of our earlier webinars. So feel free to kind of browse and request the information on that in more detail about the beauty discovery. And this shift is impacting both retail site traffic, it's impacting engagement, it's impacting how we should be thinking about the modern day advertisement. And the reason for that is ultimately it's impacting revenue. So from there, we'll take a look at what this means for monetization and traditional models that are built around traffic or shelf visibility are no longer enough. They're still all in play, but no longer enough. And then we will move on and we will cover what retailers can do to create new monetization opportunities through personalization, through retail media, through shopper insights, and then what brands should perhaps be expecting from those retail partnerships. And then we will obviously also touch on what the brands could be doing themselves on their own channels and the channels that they control. And then I will take an opportunity to maybe give you a few examples of how Revive is thinking about those both sides of ecosystem and connecting retailers and brands, and just give you a few examples of how those AI-powered solutions, deeply personalized solution, could make these strategies a reality. And then we could probably close up with some takeaways, and hopefully that will be helpful when you're finalizing and fine-tuning your 2026 strategy, and maybe even the rest of 2025. So with that said, let's perhaps start with a hard truth again and again. And I think you're probably hearing this at any event you go, at any discussion you have, probably internal as well. We are certainly hearing it all over the place. Discovery is shifting. And with that, referral traffic, traditional referral traffic, is declining. So, for example, Forrester reports that many retailers are seeing a drop between 15 to 50% in overall site visits that is tied to discovery traffic, and it's dropping. The reason being is platforms like ChatGPT, Gemini, other AI, generative AI type platforms are really changing consumer behavior. and serving those instant answers instead of sending users to brand side or to retailer side right away. I will touch upon that, what this means, this type of behavior in a minute. But as a result, referral traffic has dropped significantly because it's no longer that kind of broad advice that all those searches recommend. They zero in on one or two answers. But there is a flip side. And brands that do appear in those AI generated results or in those kind of conversations see conversion lifts of over 400%. And that's not a small number. On top of that, we are seeing that real referral traffic from AI sources like ChatGPT is actually converting better in general. It's converting at 6.7% and nearly doubles the rate of traditional search traffic. So yes, referral traffic is down. It's definitely a battle and it's a problem because consumer mind has shifted. They want a referral. They start the discovery and they expect the discovery to end with some sort of conclusion and more precise personalized referral. But where it exists, it's smarter, it's more qualified, and it is ready to convert. And that is absolutely an opportunity. The question is, those that don't take up an opportunity and advantage of that, of course, will be missing out. So let's dive in a little bit more on what that means, right? So let's think about how people used to shop, right? And I'm not saying that this is still not happening. It absolutely is and will, but there is different elements that are appearing even in that traditional type of search, and you're all seeing that with a bit of AI overlay or something else. So people used to search, click, land on your page, right? And that it could be search or see the ad, land on your homepage, and then they would really dive into a broader discovery journey. Today, the actual discovery start much earlier, and consumers now do engage with like AI generated summaries, voice assistants, some sort of interactive media journey, and they expect to already have that advice and that interaction back and forth where they have opportunity to ask questions, find something that's already very deeply personal, and then they land on your site quite often to really just complete the purchase. So I'm not saying that they don't continue the discovery, but the very first step of discovery shifted upwards, and it's happening. And on top of that, with the modern technology, the modern day consumer is being educated and expects interaction. And the reason they expect interaction is they expect personalization from very moment that it's thinking about the purchase. So even your own channel as a result, right? Like ads or influencer campaigns or any sort of patterns and behaviors that are happening on your site might evolve to adapt to this kind of like new way of how consumer expects to be fed information, how consumer expects to learn, how consumer wants to do the discovery. It needs to be interactive, personalized, guided, and it's not just static listing or rely on just keyword search or filters. That is no longer enough. It still happens and it's an absolute must, but it's no longer enough. And your site, your own channels still matter greatly, absolutely. But it is no longer just destination. It has to be part of the discovery path itself. And that's where a variety of different techniques, and of course, everyone talks about like how to optimize for generative engine searches. All of that, we talked about that in the past, but everything, every piece of information, anything that you were doing with the consumer before, be it ads, be it kind of announcements in the social media, be it what you include in your email campaigns, as well as how you create that journey and that discovery path on your site need to be restored with an element of interaction and guidance. That's what really is the after effect and aftermath of all of those generative AI systems. Assistance is expected early on, and guidance and interaction is expected early on. So with that said, let's maybe take one step further, right? And kind of take a look how the discovery could happen through those AI tools, social media, retailer partners, and even on your own site. And how can we treat these moments truly as the new commercial frontline, so to speak? So it's no longer discovery first, monetization later. Today, discovery itself is the monetization opportunity, right? What does it actually mean? And again, to be honest, everyone asks like, hey, what are you talking about? Whatever you're telling, does it apply only to beauty? No, it actually applies to commerce in general, but in beauty, of course, it means very specific tools. But in beauty specifically, every diagnostic, every try on, every personalized journey, every moment of guidance and education and interaction, right? That should be designed not just inform, but actually convert, capture data, build loyalty. And that is your opportunity to how you can monetize the customer, be it in an ad, be it in a traditional discovery. This is the shift both from brands or retailers who are succeeding right now. They're not just showing up and doing the traditional journeys. They're really and re-engineering discovery across the entire ecosystem that they touch as that performance channel. And that's happening. So we did establish, right? And hopefully the audience agrees with me that discovery is now the moment to monetize. I doubt that anyone would argue with that. So what does it mean maybe for a retailer, right? And for beauty retailer? It means that the old model, such as just selling an ad space or selling a space for visibility, is no longer enough, or rather, I should say, is transformed. What brands want today isn't just exposure. They want performance and they expect interaction. But on top of that, they also want access to data. They want targeted delivery. They want proof that this kind of interaction drives results. And so what we are seeing, what leading retailers or marketplaces are evolving into is becoming more experienced platforms that also offer this kind of monetization through value creation. And this includes ability to create interactive product journeys. So I'll use an example for in beauty, right? The journey that educates consumers, that does the analysis, that presents the results, that presents recommendation, and it's all guided with consumer interaction. It needs to have level of diagnostics and sophistication. It needs to have try-ons, but and then it does need to have ability to apply that journey to only select brands or to exclusive brands or have additional placement. But it's not a placement where you just play in the media or show off the picture of a product and drive to that landing page. It needs to have interactive experience around that. And of course, there needs to be measurable KPIs around those tools. So with that, let's take a look at this from a brand perspective, right? And today's beauty brands are under great pressure to drive growth and improve ROI and personalize and actually build loyalty, right, to the product itself. And so when the brands invest in retail media, they're not just buying placement. They are looking for that performance. They are expecting an opportunity where it will be taken advantage of the digital shelf and sophistication of it. So it doesn't mean just showing up in a particular category pages or being taken priority slot when navigating through search or filters or having just more of a traditional placement. No, they want to reserve a spot, and in that spot, they want to provide experience. And they expect that experience to also be a journey and sophistication. And they also expect that that actually creates that sort of deep personalization. So, in other words, digital shelf allows you to personalize the ads. And to personalize the ads today, it means they need to be interactive and they need to be learning about the consumer and they need to be dynamic. And from there, of course, brands and retailers could expect a wealth of consumer level insights that then could be, again, used to up the game and do deeper personalization, make other decisions. Those retailers who can't offer this type of things to brands will fall behind. Will fall behind in attracting the top brands, in just creating that traffic from a consumer and driving that loyalty and commitment, and really will miss out on the intelligence. So brands want partnership, but I think the same techniques also apply to brands. There is more and more where if the discovery is not happening on your site, if the discovery is happening elsewhere, you need to have additional reasons for the consumer to come and buy that product. And of course, you want them to buy your product, but I would imagine you also want them to buy it from you if you have your own DTC channel. If nothing else, your own channel should also be an opportunity to create a deeply personalized experience that builds loyalty. And then, of course, the consumer might still make that choice of where to actually complete the purchase, but they will be completing the purchase of your product or your multiple products, which, by the way, is not a small thing. We are seeing that those deeply personalized interactive experiences and interactive flavor of not only builds loyalty, but it actually improves the basket size. Consumers are now buying multiple of your product, kind of creating those kind of routines. And so average order value goes up quite significantly. So the personalization is really truly monetization tool, interactive personalization. So let's maybe take a look at a few other things. Let's anchor this in the market momentum, perhaps, right? What is happening in retail media? Retail media is one of the fastest growing segments in digital advertisement, right? We do see the numbers, and it's like the industry sees those numbers. 82% of brands are still planning to increase the spend. 62% said that they're doing it specifically for access to first-party and zero-party data. Interesting insight on that. So we are not talking about experimental budget. It's nearly 1 in 5 digital ad dollars are expected to go towards retail media. And the question is, will it go to yours? The retail media that stays in a traditional space is probably going to miss out, especially because it also is not capable to provide access to first-party and zero-party data at the levels that interactive activity can. So the point is differentiate and differentiate now and differentiate in your retail media offer. So because if you're offering the same old banner placement, top shelf placement, static product grids, you're really not meeting the needs of the sophisticated brand, because they do look for the smarter targeting, interaction, creative formats, and they already know that that is what delivers on ROI today. So maybe I just want to take a moment and maybe kind of use some of our experience. And of course, it could translate to other non-beauty industry, but just a few examples of what modern monetization might actually look like. So for example, what you see here is not a traditional ad, but rather dedicated branded experience that is powered by AI. It's interactive, it's tailored to the consumer, It's embedded directly in a retail environment or whatever, in whatever space or slot that you agree upon, hopefully the most visible one. And as a result, the consumer doesn't feel like they've been sold to. They feel like they've been guided, supported, understood. They do build loyalty to that brand, but they also build loyalty to the retailer. So it is really a win-win. And those particular experiences consistently outperform traditional placements. We are seeing higher click-through rates, stronger conversion, deeper engagement. So it really is a win for on both sides. For a retailer, you provide differentiation experience. It builds loyalty. Brands have ability to really lock in on the customer and deliver measurable results and build the loyalty to the brand. So you're not just selling a space anymore for a placement. You're co-creating mutual value. So let's maybe move on to another model, right? That also is gaining traction, and this is especially so for retailers that perhaps want to scale fast, right? What you could do, as an example, is have a single shared experience framework, like a diagnostic or a discovery journey. But each participation brand could get its own entry point, logic, and sort of targeted product pathway. So you invest in the technologies that can kind of spin off multiple flavors, very similar experiences, but those are branded experiences for different solutions, and you could create multiple entryways to the same solution that would appear branded. So a win-win for retailers. It's high efficiency that allows you to really monetize, build the momentum, sell multiple advertisement without investing into completely brand new journeys for every brand, right? And it's opportunity to multiple brands. For brands, it still feels personalized, and it's perhaps also more affordable to participate in this type of experience, right? And they still get campaign-specific targeting and exposure and results. So this kind of structure is really perfect for things like category pages, or brand zones, or seasonal themes, or as well as retail and media placement. So it's scalable personalization, more streamlined, more straightforward, very similar from brand to brand, except for branding, but nevertheless creates a deeply personalized effect. And now let's take another look at a different model, perhaps more of a full, what we, at least in the Revive language, we call it signature campaigns. You could call it anything, but this is really an opportunity to create fully branded, high impact, co-created experiences. This is probably the most preferred for the up and coming brands, as well as for mature brands that really want to shine. And so each campaign then can build its own visual identity, communicate, in the case of, let's say, skincare, their own diagnostics, their own experience logic, zero in on a specific different KPIs, and have the discovery journey. So a little more sophisticated, more variety, right? More ability to stand out, but again, also an opportunity. I'll pause there because I've been kind of anchoring on the retailers and what retailers could do, right? And how they can monetize the space in a much more sophisticated way going forward. However, what we are also seeing is many brands have great relationship with marketplaces, with retailers, and they can actually also demand to have the space that they're buying to have that sort of experience. So the brand can very well initiate this type of conversation. We have examples of brands that didn't wait for a particular retailer to figure out how to do this type of things, right? Or how to start a fully blown program in that regard. But nevertheless, those brands said, well, we're using this and this type of solution on our site. We want to be able to do this type of experience when we are participating with you, Mr. and Mrs. Retailer. And we already have the technology. So what they need then is more of a permission to use the space that they have on retailers' property and plug in that type of experience that they already have and created. So a variety of different ways to influence, collaborate. We have examples of both, whether it's initiated by retailer and fully blown program, or case by case basis where retailers offer this type of solutions and experiences to specific brands in a variety of different ways, or it could be led by a brand approaching the retailer and actually kind of requesting the space to be used for this type of experience. So everything is possible there. So let's take a step back, connect the dots. So what we are seeing today, right, is not just about offering better ad placement. It's really about rethinking what monetization really means in a world where discovery starts earlier and elsewhere, where it's interactive, more distributed, and increasingly shaped by AI. And in this new model, the most valuable inventory isn't just space, it's context and experience. I think that, like, if there was any sort of takeaway, I would say that, right? Because once we start thinking about it from that point of view, a lot of other things fall in place and a lot of decisions make much more sense. And performance doesn't come from impression either in this new reality. It comes from intelligent journey. And success also isn't defined by traffic alone, but the ability to convert discovery into loyalty and revenue. So those that, be it retailers or brands, who embrace the shift are no longer just settling for just attention. They're becoming value platforms, and they're really connecting the consumer in a meaningful way. And really, quite honestly, how it translates to retail monetization or brand monetization or the future of retail media, this is where a differentiation will truly happen, and we will be seeing more and more of that. So let's maybe take another look at how it could come together. Just a couple of examples, right? On ability to move beyond those static ads or generic placement and create the journeys. But with this, it not only creates monetization opportunities, but it actually gives retailers ability to capture additional signals on consumer behavior across different digital and physical channels, translates them into even more advanced actions, and then create brand momentum that is really relevant and measurable. And a few things that perhaps I did not necessarily mention just yet, and we'll go through this, but I'll hang on this slide. There is additional revenue streams that actually comes out of it, and of course, it really depends on the position of a retailer and level of interactions that you established with your brands, and it's probably more meaningful to the retailer than the brand per se. But there is an opportunity to really monetize your first and zero-party data and the insights, especially if it's not just kind of raw data, but it's already packaged into some meaningful action. So we are seeing some retailers take a step towards that, where not only are they offering this interactive, personalized journey and experience as part of the program, but they're supplementing it with additional insights and reporting at a different level that perhaps brands haven't seen before. And it's quite unique what this type of journeys are able to gather about the demographic, about consumer behavior, about variety of different patterns. And of course, it's up to a retailer what to share and what to expose. But there is definitely plenty of opportunity there with the data itself, whether you decide to monetize it with brands or if you decide to monetize it in a different way with creating some additional decisions within the business. So moving on, right, just kind of if we were to wrap this up and make a bit of conclusion. So as we're bringing that strategy together, let's take a look at the whole ecosystem. So for retailers, it really is about moving from being a storefront to becoming a performance platform. That means smarter media, interactive experiences, measurable results that drive that type of interaction, loyalty, and conversion. And then for brands, it's about investing where discovery leads to conversion. Reach, yes, but also relevance, personalization, and data that could be used for campaigns. And now perhaps obviously to implement a lot of those things, some are doing it themselves, but many require a variety of different technology. Don't want to do a shameless plug for Revieve, but we have been thinking about this type of ecosystem for quite some time. And I think what's important to say is whatever technology partner you select, especially it's true so for the beauty journey, because beauty journey requires whole other level sophistication as it brings additional elements that perhaps don't exist for other categories, right? So we all know in skincare, for example, right, diagnostics, visualization of results, and in makeup, whole other kind of category of both being able to visualize, understand intent, all of those things that require levels and levels of sophistication of AI. That's one thing, but I would encourage you to also look for a technology platform that thinks of the entire ecosystem and how you need to deliver those experiences along the entire newly redefined path of purchase. So think of those that are able to support your campaigns with the level of sophistication, that are able to expand and support your retail media needs and those new sophisticated programs, that understand the impact of Gen AI searches and optimize for them, and that do arm you with data that is packaged in a way that is not only for your future, but that you could react to right away. So those are just in the end, it's a combination, right? It becomes that sort of shared strategy, shared data, shared outcome, and as a result, it really is a win-win. But do bet on the right partner if you're looking at the technology to do this. So with that said, I think that completes so my portion of what I wanted to share. We have a variety of different things. If you guys want to experience our solutions, please by all means try and take a look. And one thing I will say, in our case specifically, we have designed those that they could be used and developed and implemented, deployed as in variety of experiences, be it online, in store, for the retail media campaigns with the proper support that it needs. But other than that, if anyone has questions, right, or wants to reach out to me personally, please do.